Well, the cluster actually started in 2014, and at that point of time, the cotton industry was what we call down and out. And we realized we had to do something very seriously. And we found out that there is funds available from the government, DTI, IDC, and we applied for it, and we were very lucky and successful in our application. I think the main thing that made the cluster successful is that we had opportunity to do surveys and gather information about what is exactly going on in the industry and get the answers for what, when, and where. And it was actually shocking to find out that most of our cotton was exported and the rest of the cotton was imported. And due to this, if you can call it a due diligence, we then realized that looking at other industries and why they're successful is they are actually selling. The farmer in our situation can sell directly to the retailer, which is unknown and still unknown in a lot of countries. But in South Africa, we thought, okay, there's other industries that is getting it, so let's try it. And so we start talking to retailers, and one of those retailers in South Africa, Mr. Price, said, but they are willing to take part in this. And to summarize that very shortly is that all of a sudden the financial institutions said, but here is a solution. We do have a product, we have to finance the input cost of the farmer, but the farmer didn't have the market to sell it. And now, if you look at what the retailers need in cotton, is more than what South Africa can produce. And if the retailer is prepared to then sign an order, what we call a promissory note, that they will take up the cotton when it's harvest, then you've got the answer for this whole thing. And then there's been all the financial institutions say, but here is a success story. You don't only ask for money, you also have the solution, and you also have the market. And I think that is what makes the whole cluster a success story, is that we can offer the farmer a price before he starts planting. And that was never the case. Well, it's a shocking figure. If you look at cotton production in 2012, was in approximately 17,000 hectares of cotton, which will give you a roughly, let's say, 27,000 bales of lint. And we all measure cotton in the world, bales of lint. Today, we're standing for South Africa at 220,000, 230,000. We don't have the final figure yet. So looking at 27,000 bales to 220,000 bales, it's a huge growth. Well, that is a nice story to tell, although it's also, in my view, a thriller. You know, we had to decide, because of the volumes and the growth in hectares, that the current gen that we had was too small. The capacity won't last, and then you will have to say to the farmers, you can't plant cotton. So we had to make a decision as shareholders, what are we going to do? The technology in the old gen was 30 years, 40 years old, although most of the equipment is more or less running the same, but there's new technology that we're currently using. So we decided then to rather upgrade and make sure that we can grow this fantastic plant and the production thereof. And it is a plant that you know, they don't need that much water. And in this area, there are irrigation, but we are mainly, if you look at the past, it's a dry area. So dry land is, well, in hectareage. In 1988, it was about 80,000 hectares of dry land in the area and about 14,000 of irrigation. So that went down the drain, and we had to rebuild it. So if we want to go back only to where we were in 1988, we need a new gen. We need a better capacity. So that, and with a lot of gray hair, we decided to do it. And, you know, the future is in our hands, and we have to believe in ourselves. And then we decided to do it and bring in this machine. And currently, we know that's the most modern machine and also the biggest one in Africa. Definitely one of the modern machines in the Southern Hemisphere. Although we're not the biggest, but we move now from 8 to 10 bales an hour to 45 bales an hour. So that is what we, to make it easy for everyone to understand, is that what we normally done in a week, we are doing now in 1 day. The total investment was 72 million rand. That is one of the biggest advantages that we will have in the cotton industry. We can create, for every hectare that we plant cotton, we can create 1 job. That's more or less the figure that we worked out and currently proved if you look at what we've done over the last 4 years and how many jobs. So if you look at small-scale farmers in our area and you look at the very high figure of employment, I think the highest figure anyway in South Africa is in our area. Already 240 farmers is now planting, small-scale farmers is planting cotton in this area, who used to be 10 or 4 or 5. There will be more. Unfortunately, the small-scale farmers is depending on the rain, and no rain, no harvest, no crop. But if the rain is there and the wool is there, we can create a lot of jobs, because the open areas lying here just waiting for us to plant cotton is in the region of 65,000 hectares. Good cotton area, good cotton soil, but we need to change the government's mind and view on land and assist us, because a lot of these farmers have the skills, they can farm, but they don't have the equipment and finance.